Yo, what's up everybody? So I just finished playing the stellarblade demo and I was highly surprised by what I just played. I went in going in with zero research or expectations of what this game was actually going to be about. So right off the back, go play this demo. Yes, it's just a demo, but if you were on the fence about playing this game, I feel like this would turn you into a fan. And if you were a fan already, I feel like it's just going to justify everything that you are already ready to experience. So feel free to skip ahead if you want to, but I'm just going to go ahead and give a quick little breakdown about what this game is all about. So this one's made by Shift Up, and this is their first time at actually making a console game. The designer of this game did work on Blade and Soul, which if anyone else has played knows that that game visually looked pretty stunning. So this game was supposed to come out on PS4 back in the day under the name Project Eve, but due to pushbacks, it actually ended up getting released now on the PS5 under the name stellarblade. So the demo gives us just a little tiny glimpse of the story, which was enough to make me want to come back for more and ride with the main character if I'm being honest. But if we're talking about what's the star, it's the combat for sure. And it was way better than I expected. I had no idea that Shift Up was going for like a Souls-like Sekiro, God of War, Bayonetta type of blend. I know that's a lot of games, but I'm saying that all inside the best way. So where this game shines is obviously inside the combat. Now the enemies in this game, I'm gonna be straight up, man, they do not fuck around at all. They actually put up a really decent challenge, and I only played the game on normal mode. The thing that got me was that this game is a lot more timing focused than it is just offensively rushing someone down, which is kind of counterintuitive because they give you several combos inside the game to be able to work with. But this is actually wrong. The enemies don't actually stagger whenever they're taking damage, so what ends up happening is when you're swinging on them, they actually will swing through your attacks after a while, which is basically a punish for you being too aggressive. This is where the inspiration for the Sekiro side of things comes in a lot more. So here's the thing. You want to spend your time trying to parry the enemy as much as you possibly can because you end up guard breaking them, and when you do, you get a free open chance to either do big damage if they're a boss enemy or straight up kill them if they're a regular foe. And as a side note, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below, but I feel like the parrying system is way tighter than I expected, and I'm saying that as in like the window that you have to actually parry something is pretty small. It got a little bit bigger once I got the first upgrade that allows you to basically perfect parry with a better window, but it was still one of those situations where you essentially had to be on point. Like it didn't give you too much of a leeway as far as being able to parry attacks. Let me know what y'all think if y'all end up playing the game. Now, I didn't have a chance to actually play up how crucial those executions were in this game, but they are nice, man. Whenever you actually have a chance to guard break somebody and you go in for that heavy damage or for that kill, it looks gorgeous. I mean, just look at this. Now, where I think it takes a little bit from God of War is the button prompts. Usually at the end of a battle or sometimes in the middle of a battle, once you get an enemy down to a certain point, it'll pop up like a button sequence where you have to mash the square button or you have to hit a certain button at the right time to be able to execute something. And just so you know, whenever you get to an end of a fight, if you don't hit the right button, I'm not going to say that you'll die, but you'll definitely get hit and take some damage, and then you'll have to replay essentially that late part of the fight all over again in order to whittle the boss's health back down up to the point to where you can try and go for the execution all over again. So if you miss it the first time, it looks like there's a small bit of punish, but it's not terrible. So the other addition to this is the dodging system. Now, just like parrying, you essentially have to be on time whenever you're doing this. You can't just dodge all willy-nilly because you really don't dodge that far. The best you can do is dodge backwards a couple of times, and that will get you clear out of an enemy's attack range, but it doesn't fully get you out of it if you're dodging to the sides. Generally, if you're deciding to do that, you almost have to be perfect when it comes to that timing. And I say that because if you're not and you dodge too early, you get hit. If you dodge too late, you get hit. You essentially have to be perfect whenever you're doing that. And it is worth it, because if you do dodge, it slows down time for you just a little bit, and which allows you to initiate a counterattack on the enemy. This doesn't do as much damage as a parry, but it's another type of way that you can get around things if parrying is just too hard for you, which I don't see how it could be because the timing between the two is almost the same. They did add a kind of a cool feature though, where there's times where there's a blue light that shows up, and when that happens, it allows you to dodge towards the enemy, and it will essentially teleport you behind them and then open them up for more counterattacks. The same thing can be done going backwards whenever the enemy lights up red. When that happens, you essentially jump in the middle and counter the enemy, thus stopping them from attacking, and it opens them up for a counterattack as well. So it's kind of an interesting system whenever it comes down to dodging. You get a few different options on how you want to play things to be able to take advantage of enemies, which is a much more calculated approach to combat than I expected from this game. So my biggest tip for this game is don't go too offensively heavy. If you are for some reason gonna go that heavy because you just can't figure out the parry timing or the dodge timing, it's gonna be a footsies game. It's gonna be attack, attack, dodge backwards, and rinse, wash, and repeat. You really don't want to find yourself staying inside the pocket for too long because you're just gonna end up getting punished. You also get special abilities as well. Consider these like a little bit more of a powerful version of your regular attacks, and they usually can't be interrupted. At least it didn't seem like they could be interrupted as much whenever you're actually attacking the enemy. Obviously you can't spam these. They actually run on a system called BE, which is like mana points. So as long as you have those available, you can use that move. So just some extra stuff that you get to experiment with inside the demo too, which is a kick-ass gun, which it looks dope. It's interesting. Whenever you use this gun, it actually chips away at a secondary bar that the enemy has. Not really sure what this does overall. I probably should have read about it, but it seems interesting. You also get grenades that vary in effects. This was actually pretty helpful. The one I used the most actually knocked the enemy all the way back, even if they were mid-combo. There's some exploration stuff to where you can go swimming. You can also do a little bit of parkouring / platforming to be able to find different areas of the stage. You don't have to do this too much in the demo, but this could open some things up as far as exploration goes once the game actually drops. So like most Souls-likes, it does have the same thing as far as a bonfire, which instead they call a campsite. In which at the campsite you get to recharge your Estus flask or your potions. You have a chance to be able to level yourself up, which in this game, instead of it being your stats, you actually end up just leveling up your abilities. Instead of having multiple weapons that you have to upgrade as you go, it looks like you only have a singular weapon, at least as far as the demo goes, and you're just going to be powering that one up rather than getting a new sword every 10 feet. And just like other Souls games, whenever you die, this is where you get sent back to. Whenever you actually go and rest at a campsite, you get your health back, of course, and all the enemies in the range, all of them come back to life, so get used to that. One thing that is a little bit different, which is kind of a plus, or it could be a minus for others, whenever you do die, you don't have to worry about going back to recover any type of souls or any type of anything else. When you die, you just die and you get sent back to the checkpoint being at the campsite. And a side note about the campsites, the music whenever you stop in here, man, it is so good. I mean, I know music is subjective, but I really love the sound that they put off whenever you're chilling just at the campsites. I hope when the full game comes out that they release even more tracks. Right now there was only 3, but it just really had a nice vibe, especially when you're hanging out in a world with tons of monsters, which is, kind of interesting. One last thing I forgot to talk about was the armor and clothing system. They do theirs in a little bit of a different way, which I find to be cool. So instead of making it more about an armor system, they just make the clothes. You can just try on all different types of different outfits and rock everything that you want to rock, even down to just a bare skin suit kind of thing. Yeah, that's in there too. But this doesn't seem to have any type of bearing on your actual performance or your defense or anything like that. Instead, they have these earrings, and this is where you're able to mod your character a little bit, such as making your attack speed greater, attack up, defense, all the other stuff like that. So rather than making the clothing the main focus of your armor system, I think it's all going to come down to these accessories. That's where the focus is, which is cool and a different direction to go, especially since the creators were way more on the designer side of things, going all the way back to Soul and Blade. So I can see how they want to make sure to kind of flex that designer muscle a bit. They also showed off some of the story bits as well, which seemed pretty good. It seemed like all the voice actors were taking things seriously, and the direction is actually a lot more of a serious tone than I expected. And quick spoiler, if that's what you want to call it, but this is something that they showed you inside the demo. The game is not too afraid to be able to push the gore on you a little bit and the violence just a bit. I mean, look at this. They do these girls absolutely dirty. Yeah, that face says it all. I really don't know what else to say except, hey, go out there and go play that demo for yourself. You'll never really know what it's like and how the game translates up until you play it. And yes, it's just a demo in some people's eyes, but I think that these things matter because this is a chance for any type of game to put their best foot forward, especially in a world where everyone's being tight with their money and their time. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening. I really am having a good time testing out all different types of demos. Unless I get the call up someday to be able to check out all these demos for myself, you know what I'm saying, behind closed doors, this is the best chance I have at actually trying to play games before they come out. Me personally, I used to love playing demos as a kid, so I really do have an appreciation for any studios that actually take the time to put their games out there for people to try early. And I'm going to continue to try to play as many demos as I possibly can out there as well. Anyway, I'll keep you guys posted as I keep going. I'll catch y'all later, and y'all know what to do.